How to play Wizard.
Shuffle the deck and deal everybody one card. That's right, just one card. Put the rest of the deck in the middle of the table and turn over the top card. This is a trick-taking game where everyone plays one of their cards to the table, and whoever plays the strongest card gets to scoop up the stack and claim it for themselves. In the first round, all players only have one card, so you all play it and someone wins and takes the trick, and what fun is that?
Well, in Wizard, before you play a round, you must guess how many tricks you can take. If you are exactly right, you stand to get a lot of points. If you take more or fewer tricks than you predicted, your score will go into the dumpster.
So, when you get dealt that single card in the first round, you have to think to yourself, is my card likely to be stronger than every other player's card? Am I going to win this trick?
But before you decide, let's take a look at the deck so we can understand the strength of the cards.
Wizard uses a standard 52 card deck with 4 suits: clubs, hearts, spades, and diamonds. The weakest card in any suit is the 2, and then it goes all the way up to 10, and then jacks, which are lower than queens, which are lower than kings. Aces are high, so they're stronger than kings. And then you've got 4 jester cards, which are complete garbage. These are the equivalent of zeros. Everything beats them. Finally, the deck has 4 wizard cards. A wizard is the opposite of a jester. It'll beat anything. Each round, the dealer finishes doling out the cards and then turns over the top card from the deck. Whichever suit that card belongs to is the trump suit, the strongest suit. So if we're looking at the hierarchy of strong cards to weak cards, a wizard beats everything, followed by the highest played card of the trump suit, followed by the highest played card of the non-trump suit, followed by a jester, which is the absolute pits.
Starting with the player on the left, the dealer must predict how many tricks they would take. Since there's only one trick in this round, the options to say is 1 or 0.
So, what do you think? This turned over card says that spades are trump. That's the strongest suit. Your card is the 10 of hearts, and because you were the dealer, you're the last player who gets to play. What's the likelihood that you're going to take the trick? For you to win it, the first player would have to lead by playing a heart that was lower than your 10 or a crummy jester. Let's take a look at the deck again. To say you'll win is to say that you're betting the first player was dealt one of these cards. Those odds aren't great, are they? So, when the question comes around to you, you decide to say that you'll win 0 tricks. We mark your prediction here on the score sheet. Then you play out the round. The player to your left starts by playing their only card, a 2 of hearts. Uh-oh. This next player has to follow suit, which means playing a card with a suit that matches the card that started the trick. But that player can't follow suit because he doesn't have a heart. So he plays his only card, a 5 of diamonds. Since that player couldn't follow suit, the 2 of hearts is winning the trick so far. And it looks like your goose might be cooked because your 10 is going to beat that 2, and you said you wouldn't win any tricks. But then this player plays a 3 of spades. Since spades is the trump suit, a spade of any value beats any non-trump card, except a wizard, which beats everything. You happily play your 10 of hearts card. Whew, you're safe. Because although your 10 of hearts is stronger than the 2 of hearts that was led, the spade beats both of them because it's in the special trump suit. Well, there. You've predicted you'd win 0 tricks, and you won exactly 0 tricks. Let's take a look at the scores. You're up against your friends, Susie, Gargnog, Scourge of the Pustular Mountains, Bringer of Lamentations, who strikes terror in the souls of the innocents, and Carl. You and Gargnog both predicted you'd earn 0 tricks, so you get 20 points each for predicting correctly and winning exactly your predicted number of tricks. Susie took a real gamble on her low trump 3 card by predicting she'd win the round's only trick. But her gamble paid off. She did earn 1 trick, so she gets 20 points for predicting correctly, plus another 10 points for each trick she took. She took 1 trick, which is a bonus 10 points, so she gets a total of 30 points. Carl, for some weird reason, thought for sure he'd win the trick with his 2 of hearts. He predicted he'd win 1 trick. Since he was wrong about that and took 0 tricks, he loses 10 points for each trick over or under his prediction. His prediction was off by 1, so Carl starts the game 10 points in the hole. Then you scoop up the cards, and the player to your left becomes the new dealer. That player shuffles the deck and deals 2 cards out to each player. You go around the circle, starting with the player to the left of the dealer, and everyone predicts how many of the 2 available tricks they'll win. And then you just keep following that pattern until you get to the last round when all of the cards are dealt. So the number of rounds you play depends on how many players you have. A 3-player game has 20 rounds. A 4-player game has 15 rounds. It's 12 rounds for 5 players and 10 rounds for 6. In that last round, because there's no card to turn over to determine the trump suit, there is no trump suit, and only wizards are trump. Let's take a quick look at another scoring example from later in the game. In this round, everyone was dealt 5 cards, so there were 5 possible tricks to win. Susie bid 3, Gargnog bid 2, you bid 1, and Carl bid 7. Carl is not very good at games, but he's allowed to overbid even if it's a terrible idea. As you played, each player collected the tricks they won. You can arrange them like this or like this, but it can't be a secret to the other players how many tricks you've taken. You're not allowed to hide those piles. So how it actually shook out is that Susie won 2 tricks. Well, that's 1 trick off the mark, so she loses 10 points. Gargnog actually took 2 tricks, so he gets 20 points for an accurate bid, and then 10 points for each trick he took, for a total of 40 points this round. You bid 1, and you took 1. So you get 20 points for a correct prediction, plus another 10 because you took 1 trick, for a total of 30 points this round. That means that Carl took 0 tricks and bid 7. So Carl loses 10 points for each trick over or under his prediction. So he nets negative 70 points this round. Oh, Carl.
Well, that's almost everything you need to know, but there is some weird curbs.
Does the first player have to follow the suit of the turned up card? Well, no. That card is only for establishing which suit is trump for this round. If the dealer turns up a jester, well, there is no trump suit for this round. If the dealer turns up a wizard, well, then the dealer gets to pick which suit is trump. Now, what if the first card a player plays is a wizard or a jester? Well, how do you follow suit? Well, in that case, there is no suit to follow, so you can just play whatever. What if you're able to follow suit, but you don't want to? Well, tough nuts, because you gotta. Unless you have a wizard or a jester you can play. What if the first card someone plays is a jester? Which suit does the next player have to follow? Well, that player doesn't have to follow any suit. He can just play whatever. But the next player has to follow that suit. What happens if the first card is a jester and the next card is a wizard? Well, then there's no suit to follow, so you can play whatever you like. What happens if more than one wizard card gets played? Well, the winning wizard is the earliest one to hit the table. What if everyone plays a jester? Well, then the first jester beats the rest. Play through the rounds until you finish the final round where the dealer has dealt the entire deck, and then tally up the points to see who's won. Surprise, it wasn't Carl.
Thanks for watching this, you guys. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. If you guys do, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you guys check out the last videos that we have done on my main channel. One is going to be a random video, and then the other one's going to be a playlist of all how-to videos, you guys. So make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and see you guys back here in the next video. Good.